Welcome to Best CBD Center. I have a very special guest, and I'm so happy because he's actually actual medical doctor with a passion for CBD. Welcome, Dr. Philip Blair.
Tomas, thank you so much for inviting me to be on your show. I'm excited about being here and trying to answer as many questions that I can for you.
Thank you so much. I have a summary background on. I basically stole it from you, and I'm going to read it from here, and I'm super excited to have you here. So these are the words of Dr. Philip Blair about himself. So here we go. I'm a specialist in hemp-derived cannabidiol use and application for clinical disorders. Consultant, lecturer, blogger, advocate. U.S. Army colonel, currently retired. And let's talk about skills and expertise here in CBD field. PTSD, cannabidiol for autism, anxiety, my favorite topic, pain, schizophrenia, diabetes, dementia, migraines, and MS. Wow, that is quite of a bio. So what I want to do today is to ask most common questions, and this is going to be sort of a series, and we do maybe 3 or 4 questions, and then move to more questions next time we meet. How does that sound?
Sounds good.
Lovely. Okay, so let's just do the rapid fire and go right at it. So here's the most common question, I guess. What is CBD oil and how does it work?
Well, CBD is a small fat molecule, it's 21 carbons, and it interacts with the body in very positive ways, working with the endocannabinoid system, but much more. So the oil is actually an extract from the cannabis plant, but this is the hemp plant that does not contain any significant amount of THC, whereas marijuana contains a fairly large amount of THC and smaller amounts of CBD. So the focus here on what I'm doing is on CBD coming from hemp. As a signaling molecule, then it has a number of positive effects that work through multiple systems within the body, including the neurologic system, the immunologic system, as well as hormones and metabolism, really right down to the mitochondrial level.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to the next one right away, but actually I don't have it here and it just popped as you spoke, and I would like to talk about or see your view on the whole system, which is the endocannabinoid system. Am I correct?
Yeah, the endocannabinoid system. So in 1992, we actually discovered that this was a rather complex system, that there were specific receptors, that there were agonists or ligands that connect up to these receptors, as well as metabolic enzymes that either created or destroyed these particular signaling molecules, and a host of transport molecules. In addition, since then, we've been learning about more and more receptors within the body, as well as more ligands or substances that the body produces to activate on this system. Now, the endocannabinoid system, you can think of it a lot like the endocrine system, our hormonal system in our body, and this is in the same way. But unique to the endocannabinoid system is that it is the master regulator for these other systems. And I mentioned those before in terms of the neurologic and the immunologic and the hormones, and right down to the metabolic issues. So it's actually making fine-tuned connections for all of these areas of the body. And the endocannabinoid system is really at its core. And CBD is actually modulating that system in a very positive way to upregulate in an appropriate manner depending on the illness. Now that's important because we are learning that more and more of the diseases that we've identified, particularly syndromes like fibromyalgia and migraine, are actually endocannabinoid deficiency states, and that if we can restore and rebalance the endocannabinoids, then we can help restore the function of the individual by correcting for this endocannabinoid system.
Not too many medical professionals actually talk about this system, and it's not very like a mainstream thing, and I'm hoping that we will all learn more and that will become very popular topic and studied much deeper.
Well, it's definitely an important topic, and I think it's one way for all medical professionals as well as the lay public needs to consider that this is a source of many of the problems that we're facing at this time. And modulating that system with other different therapies that we have, whether it's acupuncture or osteopathic manipulation or herbal therapies, even exercise, improved sleep, and behavioral therapy like CBT has a role for improving the way that that system works in our body and correcting for those disease states.
I love you mentioned CBT because we will have that discussion in the next video, and I agree with this 100%. All right, moving on. I love all this. Okay, so can we elaborate just a little more about actual difference between hemp and marijuana plant?
Well, if you look at the cannabis plant, I mean, that's the overall species. And a lot like dogs, there are different categories of these plants. But in general, we can look at it as two separate types, where you have cannabis marijuana that produces the THC, and then we've got cannabis hemp that produces lots of fibers, but it is the source for CBD with very, very low levels of THC in it, classically less than 0.3%. Now, in doing that, that doesn't have any psychoactive effect to it. So those particular extracts are particularly beneficial for the health side and improving people's health without creating any impairment of the brain, cognition, or any physical impairment. There's a host of different benefits that come along with that.
Yes, that's what I wanted to really hear it from a medical doctor that has such a great passion for CBD, because you would agree that a lot of people still are very, very confused about the difference, and there's a stigma attached to marijuana, and they think, oh, I'm going to take it, I'm going to get high, and I'm just ashamed to talk about it or even research this. And so that's why I wanted to ask that question as well. Thank you so much. Is CBD oil actually legal?
Well, based on the 2018 Farm Act, Congress, and it's been signed by the president, and it has changed the category for all products that are coming from hemp, and it reclassified it, took it off of the restrictions that have been set up for dangerous substances for the entire United States. Now, individual states can legislate in one way or another, but for the most part, it has solved a lot of the confusion. Nevertheless, the Department of the DEA, Drug Enforcement, has contended that it is still an illegal substance. However, that is probably going to face multiple challenges in court because it goes against what Congress has already designated. So there is a little bit of a gray area with regard to it, but the force of the congressional 2018 Farm Act is very clear in establishing its legality, its safety, and the lack of any significant adverse problems related to it.
Thank you so much. That was Dr. Philip Blair. Thank you for everyone tuning into this episode. We are going to release more later on. We are going to talk about very interesting things that you might learn and heal from. And thank you so much. Subscribe to this channel, like it, drop the comments about what you think about the CBD and your experiences with it. Thank you one more time, Dr. Blair.
My pleasure and my privilege. Thank you for having me, Tomas.
Thank you.